Today we're diving into a fascinating concept in economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility. Imagine you're enjoying your favorite snack. The first bite is amazing, but as you keep eating, each additional bite feels a little less satisfying. This everyday experience is at the heart of our topic. We'll explore what utility means, why it matters, and how it shapes our choices. By the end, you'll see how this law influences everything from shopping decisions to business strategy. Let's start by understanding what economists mean when they talk about utility. Utility is a term economists use to describe the satisfaction or pleasure we get from consuming goods and services. Think of it as a measure of happiness or benefit. For example, when you buy a cup of coffee, the enjoyment you get from drinking it is your utility. Everyone's utility is different depending on their preferences and needs. Understanding utility helps explain why people make the choices they do, and why those choices can change over time or with circumstances. Marginal utility refers to the extra satisfaction you get from consuming one more unit of a good or service. For instance, if you're eating slices of pizza, the marginal utility is the enjoyment from each additional slice. The first slice might be incredibly satisfying, but as you eat more, each new slice adds less to your overall happiness. This concept is crucial for understanding consumer behavior and decision-making. Law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a person consumes more units of a good, the additional satisfaction from each new unit decreases. In other words, the more you have of something, the less you value each extra piece. This law is a cornerstone of economics, helping to explain why demand curves slope downward and why we make the choices we do when resources are limited. Let's bring this idea to life with a simple example. Imagine you're really hungry and you order a pizza. The first slice is delicious and gives you a lot of satisfaction. The second slice is still good, but maybe not quite as amazing as the first. By the third or fourth slice, you start to feel full, and each new slice adds less and less enjoyment. Eventually, you might not want any more at all. This is diminishing marginal utility in action. Understanding diminishing marginal utility helps us see why people don't keep buying more of the same thing endlessly. It explains why sales slow down after an initial rush, and why businesses offer deals for buying in bulk. It also helps policymakers design better taxes and subsidies, knowing that the value of each extra dollar or good isn't the same for everyone. The law of diminishing marginal utility is closely linked to the law of demand. As the utility of each additional unit decreases, people are willing to pay less for more units. That's why demand curves slope downward. Consumers only buy more if the price drops. This relationship is fundamental in economics and helps explain market behavior. Economists often use graphs to show how marginal utility changes with each additional unit consumed. Typically, the graph starts high and slopes downward, reflecting the decrease in satisfaction. This visual tool makes it easier to understand and predict consumer choices, and it's a staple in economics textbooks. While the law of diminishing marginal utility applies to most goods, there are exceptions. For example, collectors might value each new item more than the last, especially if it completes a set. Some addictive substances can also defy the law, as users crave more over time. These exceptions remind us that human behavior is complex and not always predictable. You experience diminishing marginal utility every day, often without realizing it. Whether it's eating, shopping, or even watching your favorite show, the first few experiences are usually the most enjoyable. Recognizing this pattern can help you make smarter choices and appreciate the things you truly value. When you budget your money, you're unconsciously applying the law of diminishing marginal utility. You allocate more to things that give you the most satisfaction and less to those that don't. This is why people diversify their spending, buying a variety of goods rather than just one thing. Businesses use the law of diminishing marginal utility to set prices and design products. For example, they might offer discounts for bulk purchases, knowing that each extra unit is less valuable to the consumer. Understanding this law helps companies maximize profits and meet customer needs. Utility isn't just about money or goods, it's closely tied to happiness and well-being. Economists study how people use resources to improve their lives, and the law of diminishing marginal utility helps explain why more isn't always better. Sometimes, less is more when it comes to satisfaction. Marketers use the law of diminishing marginal utility to create effective campaigns. They might highlight the unique benefits of a product's first use or offer samples to attract new customers. By understanding how utility changes, marketers can better persuade consumers and boost sales. Scarcity increases the utility of goods. When something is rare, each unit is more valuable. As you get more of it, the marginal utility drops. This is why limited edition products or rare collectibles are so desirable at first but lose appeal as they become more common. Every choice you make involves weighing utility. Should you buy another coffee or save your money for something else? The law of diminishing marginal utility helps you decide when enough is enough, guiding you toward the most satisfying use of your resources. When the marginal utility of one good falls, you might switch to something else. For example, after several sodas, you might crave water instead. This substitution effect is a key part of consumer behavior and helps explain why markets offer so many choices. Value isn't just about price, it's about the utility you get from something. Two people might pay different amounts for the same item depending on how much satisfaction it brings them. The law of diminishing marginal utility helps explain these differences in value. The law of diminishing marginal utility also explains why people save money. The first dollars you earn are crucial for necessities, but as your income grows, each extra dollar brings less satisfaction. This encourages saving and investing for the future. Governments use the law of diminishing marginal utility to design tax systems. Since extra income brings less satisfaction, higher earners can afford to pay more in taxes without losing as much utility. This is the logic behind progressive taxation. Charitable giving is also influenced by diminishing marginal utility. Donating a small amount might not affect your happiness much, but it can make a big difference to someone with less. This is why many people choose to give to those in need. Time is another resource affected by diminishing marginal utility. The first hour of free time after a busy day feels amazing, but as you have more, each extra hour may feel less special. This helps explain why people value weekends and vacations so much. Health decisions also reflect diminishing marginal utility. The first steps toward a healthier lifestyle bring big benefits, but as you get fitter, each extra effort adds less. This is why it's important to balance effort and reward in personal goals. Education is another area where diminishing marginal utility applies. The first years of schooling provide essential skills, but as you pursue higher degrees, the extra benefit may decrease. This helps students and families make informed choices about education. Technology products often show diminishing marginal utility. The first smartphone or computer you own is life-changing, but each new upgrade brings less excitement. This is why tech companies focus on innovation to keep consumers interested. Entertainment choices like movies or games also follow this law. The first time you watch a film or play a game is thrilling, but repeated experiences offer less excitement. This is why people seek variety and new experiences. Even relationships can reflect diminishing marginal utility. The joy of making a new friend or starting a relationship is intense, but over time the excitement may fade. This doesn't mean the relationship isn't valuable, just that the initial thrill lessens. Travel is another area where diminishing marginal utility appears. The first trip to a new place is unforgettable, but as you visit more, each new destination may feel less unique. This encourages travelers to seek out new and different experiences. Fashion purchases also show diminishing marginal utility. The excitement of buying a new outfit is high, but as your closet fills, each new piece adds less joy. This is why people often declutter and donate unused clothes. Food choices are a classic example. The first bite of a favorite dish is delightful, but as you eat more, the pleasure decreases. This is why variety in meals is important for maintaining enjoyment. Exercise routines also follow this law. The first workout after a break feels great, but as you repeat the same routine, the excitement can wear off. Mixing up your activities helps maintain motivation and satisfaction. Social media use is shaped by diminishing marginal utility. The first likes or messages are exciting, but as you get more, each one means less. This can lead to seeking new platforms or different types of online interaction. Shopping sprees often start with high excitement, but as you buy more, the thrill fades. This is why people sometimes regret impulse purchases and why thoughtful shopping leads to greater satisfaction. Receiving gifts is another example. The first present is thrilling, but as you get more, each one feels less special. This is why meaningful gifts often matter more than quantity. Collectors sometimes experience the opposite effect, where each new item adds more value, especially if it completes a set. However, for most goods, the law of diminishing marginal utility holds true. Housing choices also reflect this law. The first home you buy or rent is a big milestone, but owning multiple homes brings less satisfaction with each one. This is why most people focus on improving their main residence. Luxury goods offer high initial satisfaction, but as you acquire more, the thrill diminishes. This is why luxury brands focus on exclusivity and limited editions to maintain high utility for their customers. Public goods like parks or clean air provide utility to everyone. The first improvements have a big impact, but as quality increases, each extra improvement adds less. This helps governments prioritize spending. People's attitudes toward risk are influenced by diminishing marginal utility. Losing your first dollar hurts more than losing your 100th. This is why insurance and risk management are important in personal finance. Environmental resources also show diminishing marginal utility. The first clean river or forest is invaluable, but as more are preserved, the added benefit decreases. This helps guide conservation efforts and resource allocation. Innovation can temporarily reverse diminishing marginal utility. A new product or feature can reignite excitement, making each unit feel valuable again. This is why companies invest in research and development. Social trends can influence utility. When something becomes popular, the first adopters gain the most satisfaction. As more people join in, the novelty fades and the marginal utility drops. Sustainable consumption considers diminishing marginal utility. Instead of always seeking more, people focus on quality and long-term satisfaction. This shift helps protect resources and improve well-being. Ultimately, the law of diminishing marginal utility teaches us that more isn't always better. By understanding this, we can make choices that lead to greater happiness and life satisfaction, focusing on what truly matters. Summary: the law of diminishing marginal utility is a powerful tool for understanding human behavior, economics, and decision-making. It explains why we value variety, why we make certain choices, and how businesses and governments respond. By recognizing this law in your own life, you can make smarter decisions and appreciate the things that bring you the most joy. Thanks for joining this exploration of a key economic principle.